Everyone pretend podcasting isn't boring.
Today I chat with Yi Soci Chen, who was very kind to host me in his house in Lido, Italy, through the Couchsurfing system. He's an avid reader with a passion for philosophy, and we talk about social interactions, personalities, of course philosophy, death and reincarnation, destiny meetings, relations and first love, true love, tribal rituals, and much more. I hope you enjoy the episode. But first remember, Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. It is free, has everything you need to record and edit audio using your smartphone or computer. You can even make money through ads. With one click, your content goes to Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and many other platforms. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm. That is ANCHOR.FM and start today. Now, let's turn around to our chat. How does it feel to receive people from different countries and just let them sleep in your house? How is it?
It's like, having a library.
A library of people.
Yeah, because through reading books, and through talking with people, there are plenty of things in the world we can learn.
Yes.
And I like reading. I like, gathering information. I just like to discover the infinite, knowledge of this world.
Yeah.
So I think for me, Couchsurfing and actually networking, meeting people is kind of like basically renting a person and reading that person's story, which is, such luxury, such a beautiful existence, I would say.
It's interesting, right? Like when I started in Couchsurfing, I don't know if everybody started in Couchsurfing that way, but for me, the first Couchsurfing that I was like, I just want a place to crash. Like, I just want a place to stay. That was like the first Couchsurfing. And I had so much, it was so good. It was so good that it's like, okay, so Couchsurfing is not for a place to stay. It's different. It's, it's really meeting people.
Yeah.
And then I did the second one, like, okay, this is cool. And I like this thing. And of course, now I have 50 or 60 or something. And it's like, dude, I really love, not because of the place to stay. It's because of you meet people and sometimes they have crazy ideas, and sometimes so many coincidences. Like today I was talking about something like, oh, that's from the book, from Kurari. Because obviously you are an avid reader. That's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which one is your favorite book?
My favorite book, I would say, recently I read this book about secret.
Mm-hmm.
It's about, sounds like mysticism, but it's really about, the law of attraction. Like, what do you believe and how you feel inside as emotion, you attract this kind of reality. And I was very curious and very skeptic, and I thought it was, kind of placebo effect.
Yes.
I kind of started to try observe people who are overly positive, people who are more depressed.
Yes.
And I can say that people who usually are more positive, they are even more successful in their life, simply because they are not afraid, simply because they are more challenging for themselves, going to new place, meeting new people, trying different projects.
Yes.
And automatically, what happens? You attract more things in your life because you are going outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because you are challenging yourself, for something that you don't know, and so you are learning, you're growing, and I guess that's why the opportunities comes.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that you mentioned that because very recently I was watching a documentary about Bill Gates, and they interviewed some of their co-workers with Bill Gates, and they were saying, we knew that Bill Gates was wrong. We knew that his idea was wrong, but he was so stubborn into the idea that the idea is still wrong, but he succeeded. So like a wrong idea, if you really push it, like it becomes the good idea. So sometimes it's kind of like, dude, like just keep going or keep doing it, and eventually that becomes kind of like a standard or becomes the norm. It's very interesting because this kind of positivism and also kind of like do things, like just do it. Like you can analyze a thing for years, but if you do it, you learn way faster, you do it, and if you risk, you do way faster. So I mean, it's not, of course you are a reader, but it's not that you don't learn from books, but sometimes by doing it,
by experience.
Yeah. I don't know, so it sounds a little bit more like that, like you attract with being positive and stuff, but also I think that, let's say that you enter into a room where there is a lot of people that is with a long face, and you can say like the room is like, I don't know, in a bad environment.
Yeah.
But you can allow them to make you have this long face, or just smile and be contagious with the smile, and you know what I mean? That's
a very good question, and my answer will be paradoxal.
Okay.
I personally get influenced easily by the environment.
Okay.
People, they have their own vibe, they have their own energy and emotion. A little bit spiritual, maybe this conversation goes.
Okay.
So to me, it's like, it's very important to me, my time alone and the right people beside me. I'm more like an introvert type than an extrovert type. So basically, whatever I spend time with people, I'm kind of like consuming a credit, like a coin or something like that. And extrovert, for example, I would say they are like more opposite. More people they are, the more charismatic they become, and the more credits they get. It's like they can accumulate something.
Yes.
To me, it's like I get tired when I'm with a lot of people. I recharge a lot by being by myself.
Yes.
That's my theory about being introvert and extrovert. And if, of course, I need to survive an environment, I would try to light up more the environment. Yeah. Like if I see people who are quiet or silent, or they are nervous about something, I would say it's good to challenge them a little bit, provoking them, not in a negative way. Say some, I don't know, association, say some irony, do some stupid things, just to stimulate the interest, the interaction, to make the mood more light, less dramatic. Yeah,
I think it's very positive to have a person with those skills around, like really in teams and stuff. It's just very positive. And when you were talking about this introvert and extrovert, I remember there was one saying that a guy was saying that he's an introvert, and whenever he goes to a party, like he doesn't want to or he didn't used to want to disturb the environment, so he just stayed and he didn't have a good time. But now what he does is that in one point of the party he says, my social battery is down, so I need to go. I need to recharge it. And I came across with those things because some months ago now, a friend and I, we were researching about the different types, personality types, with Myers-Briggs personality type or something like that. I don't remember the name, but there are 16 personalities. And it turns out that I'm an introvert, according to the type. and she's an extrovert, and we are like completely the opposites, supposed to complement each other. I don't know. But what you're saying, it's quite, for sure, like I feel it too. For me, I really pay attention into people and stuff like that. So it's kind of, I wouldn't say like a job, but it's demanding, it's consuming. It's like when you watch an intellectual movie or you watch like a crappy movie. Like when you are watching an intellectual movie, you kind of like, you need to pay attention.
Yeah.
For me, when I have a conversation, I need to pay attention. And, you know, like after that, it's like working out. It's like, you know, like we have a good session, it's a good workout, and I'm a little bit exhausted because, you know, I'm thinking and
of course.
Like that. I don't know if you feel that way too, or you never thought about that in that way.
Getting to be more specific, watching an intellectual movie demands much more attention and meditation than, you know, an easy comedian movie. Being with the people, I can say that being in a big group, by observing, you know, the interaction and thinking about my past experiences, it's more like everyone try to show something about themselves. Like stupid things that make everyone laugh. It's wonderful. I love it. It's like playground, like you play soccer, play basketball, similar. It's great. It's just like, for me, if it's too long, of course it gets me tired. And I guess a balance is very important. I can't be in a social group of many people for too long, but being one-on-one, that dynamic is different again. It's more like you kind of go deeper with the questions. You start to get to know about that person more.
Yeah.
Like, for example, now we are podcasting, reviewing. There's much more attention to each other. You are kind of more focused on each other. Of course, this kind of make us more relaxed, right? Because when you go deep, you start to see each other as you know, emotional being.
Yeah,
much more. And you connect with each other much more. I don't think we will kiss a girl in front of many people with the tongue, right? It's more like there is some social, you know, rules, and it will be awkward somehow to be just, if not, it's an orgy or something like that.
In an orgy, it's okay to kiss the girl, right?
Because you feel that you are just like in a part of the wave, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Like, have you saw that experiment? Like, many people sitting down. It's a psychological experiment. Everyone sit down, and the other person is being not told he will sit down as well. So we are social animals. We get influenced by this, you know,
like the cues,
subtle pressure of the behavior of people.
Yeah.
And of course, it's more tiring, I feel. Being alone or being with one person, especially when you go deep with the connection, you start to recharge yourself. Of course, when you're alone, you're at the most comfortable state. Yeah. Because you read, you just like, you want to fart, no problem, just do that, right?
Yeah.
You want to, I don't know, do everything embarrassing, even, I don't know, like touching your butts, your balls, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But if you're in front of many people, you try to show the best part of yourself. You're kind of putting a mask. That's tiring.
Yeah.
With a one-on-one at the beginning, it can be because you don't know each other. But when you get to connect with each other, think about like an interaction with the girl you are flirting, and then you get kissing each other. Already by a skin touch of each other, you really start to relax. Your body starts to relax. You start to connect with the conversation. Yeah. Getting to know each other, getting too deep, and you start to recharge yourself because you're not putting the mask. You're not. Yeah. Your muscle is soft, relaxed. Yeah. I think that would be the difference, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that you were saying about like touch. As I was mentioned, I was listening to this lecture about reality and quantum mechanics and quantum physics and stuff. And apparently, like, there is something, I mean, I don't know if it has something to do, but it's super interesting that apparently, like, the atoms that they were together during the Big Bang, they vibrate. Like the string theory is that atoms are made of strings. Like, everything is made of strings that vibrate. So everything, like, nothing is, it's just vibration. So anyway, they say that an atom that was so close to another atom, or a string that was so close to another string, doesn't matter in which part of the universe they are, they vibrate in the same frequency. Like if one start vibrating in a way, the other one is going to vibrate in the same way, even if they are in completely different parts of the universe. So anyway, when you think about this, I mean, of course, I'm just trying to make connections. It's nothing scientific, but it's more like a concept. When you think about this, like I found my better half, or like my soulmate. And you know that atoms have these things that when they were together, they vibrate in the same things. And when you meet people that is like, dude, like, it looks like we are in the same vibe, we are in the same connection. And I don't know if it's something in in an atomic level, with touching, or I don't know, but yeah, of course, chemically speaking and stuff, like, you get like in synchrony with your partner and stuff. True. But it's so incredible that it goes so deep into like these levels that is like, the more you spend time with somebody, like, it kind of makes these connections, and the more you become kind of one, and like working together. Yeah. And you start feeling even more like relaxed when you're with this person than when you're alone. It's just, I don't know, it's interesting. But on the other hand, I've met some people that are extroverts, that they just cannot be alone, man. Like, they just want people around. So I don't know. For me, I'm like you. I love to have my own time. Like when I watch you reading, that we were in the ferry. For the people, like, right now I'm in Venice, and we went to the island of Lido, which is like 30 minutes, right? 30 minutes by boat. Yeah. So you just say, like, I'm just going to finish my book. I was like, and for me, it's so, how can I say it? Like, it's perfect. Like, it's like that's good. Like, I'm that kind of person. I'm the kind of person, like, dude, like, I want to read the book, and I have my own time for enjoying this part or whatever. But I met some people that they cannot be alone. I don't know if you have met those people, and it's difficult to be, for an introvert, it's difficult to be like close. I don't know if you ever date an extrovert in your life.
I have. I kind of adapt myself pretty well in front of person, but overall, knowing my attitude, my personality, I regard myself as an introvert, because I seek that time a lot, lonely time. Yeah. Positive, constructive, lonely time. Yeah. But when I'm with the people, I try to adapt pretty well to the environment, or I try, to observe the people around me a lot. Yeah. I would say that I'm the kind of person that I like the fairness somehow. If some people are talking with each other, I see the other person is being cut out more, I would rather go to talk with the person who is more cut out than being with the people who are being included.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The same.
It's a kind of like instinctual thing. I don't know. I just feel that I like fairness. Comes from subconscious. I have met a person who was very, very talkative, like talking all the time. And of course, if it's really, really, getting my attention, I would stay there talking for days, even sleeping late. It's not a problem. Yeah. But if it's like just, I don't know, sometimes I hear talks about that person is like that, is very bad. Why someone is making fun of this? My nation is the best. I don't know, like when I hear talks that doesn't hit me, which maybe I regard in a more negative way, like criticizing, I kind of start to become bored.
Yeah.
And then I become more quiet, and I think I just I have even fallen asleep, I think.
That's the worst, insult. Yeah, I just fell asleep when you were talking.
No, not me and why that person was talking. It's just like when I was like listening, okay, and then suddenly we become quiet, both of us. Maybe we were traveling on the bus and I just fell asleep. Yeah.
And what excites you in conversations? What do you like to talk about?
Hard to understand, you know. Instead of the topic, depends on the person, how that person trigger my emotion, I would say. How that person is good at triggering my emotion.
Okay.
I guess it's the same when you try to flirt with a woman, right?
Yeah. At the end, like, you're looking for the attention, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like you want the attention.
Yeah.
So you don't have topics that passion, you know, like you can talk and talk.
I like philosophy a lot.
Okay.
Many studies with human beings, you know, everything that has got to do with human as center of attention.
Yeah.
Humanistic studies.
Okay, on which line of philosophy do you like? Or do you feel that is like the correct one? Or the one that you feel?
Keyword, paradox.
Paradox for you. Okay.
It gets close actually to quantum physics.
Okay.
I like reading, listening to everyone's opinion, but I just feel like no one can actually say the real truth in an extreme way. Yeah.
But it's funny, right? Because like every time they want to go to extreme, like everybody, it's just so crazy. Like in politics, you know, like there is this, I don't know, this line of politics, and there is no. Let's just go more to the left and more, and to the right. Let's just go more. And for example, in philosophy, you have like this, I don't know, like stoicism, you know, like, you know, it's important, and you know, have these values and stuff. And nihilism, where it's like, nothing matters.
Yeah.
Fuck the world. So it's kind of like, dude, like, can we just agree that
a middle way?
There's some middle ground. I don't know if you like. I mean, I know a little bit about philosophy, but most likely you know a lot more. I don't know if there is a philosophy that would be in the middle.
Well, for example, you know, Taoism, you know, the symbol, the yin and yang, which is represented by half part white and half part black, with dots in the both sides of opposite color.
Yeah.
So the white contains a little black, and black contains a little white.
Okay.
So it's like a mutation, a transformation. What we see in the picture is a static mode, as what you said before, like atom. We see this table is comprehend, you know, a lot of molecules. It's made by atoms as well. We don't see the vibrating. We can't see from our eyes this kind of like frequency. Mm-hmm. And what we try to say is kind of like trying to, you know, fix something that is in the movement.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell the reality, so it's an eternal movement, the existence.
Yes.
I say that I'm 28 years old, but maybe I'm 30 years old or 50 years old or 60 years old is a creation, is a mind creation.
Yeah.
What do humans say about freedom, equality, democracy? I think is a concept, being created. What really it is in the biology is the movement, is the transformation.
Yeah.
And the whole universe works like that. As a human being, I think we always try to explain and trying to, fill the void of unknown, to not be afraid of that.
Yeah.
And so the sky is blue. Okay, fix it. That's it. Maybe if you look at it from the eyes of a dog, maybe it's not blue.
Yeah.
So it's more, instead of seeing something static, see something in a more emotion, dynamism. And I think paradox kind of gets closer then to the reality, even though not 100%.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, and that's, I think, would be the current of philosophy that I'm closer by, the Taoism, about the transformation and mutation.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned Taoism, because I think most of the time, at least for me and the people that I know, there is a really strong focus on Western philosophy.
It's very interesting as well, the Western philosophy.
Right, so it's weird, right? Like they go almost like for Western philosophy, but there is a whole world in the Occidental or Eastern philosophy, a lot of Asian philosophy that is so complex and so interesting. And to be honest, is the one that I know very little about. And many people that I met, even philosophers, they know very little about those, which sometimes they are very profound.
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess in politics and in culture, in communication, there is always some sort of thing behind the curtains that kind of push some ideas and others try to not push them, things like that. But I would like to, any philosopher that you recommend from the not Western philosophers?
Well, what I said was Taoism, so I would recommend, Lao Tzu. Mm-hmm. He was considered as a father of Taoism. But Taoism, actually, it comes from, the Book of Mutation. It's how actually in ancient times, Chinese people that were living in the land of China, maybe they were not called Chinese, they were called by another name. They observed stars and sky, astronomy and lands, river, mountains, thunder, fire, water, all the elements and astronomy. And they made this kind of 64 hexagrams, which is the 64 DNA condors, right, as well, of the different type of mutation and sequence, say. And so from that comes Taoism, which says that everything is a mutation, a transformation between two types of energy and existence.
Okay.
Yeah, Lao Tzu, I would say that it's very interesting, the book Tao Te Ching.
Another you talk about this, everything is in transformation. You just make me think about life and death. In some cultures, like in Mexico, they are very close together.
Yeah.
What do you think happens after we die?
That's a very interesting question. I'm searching for that a lot. I have been thinking a lot recently about transmutation of souls.
Yeah.
I don't really have any close ideas yet.
Yeah.
But somehow it fascinates me a lot. Sometimes when I look at eyes, of a little newborn child, right? They have these very deep-looking eyes. They don't talk, but they understand. Sometimes you can see them looking, at the void.
Yeah.
And I kind of question myself: are they having their own, thinking? Do they have their own logic right now?
Yeah.
Do they have some kind of memory of the past? Do they feel connected with everything?
Yes.
And you read there are people who had this kind of almost death experience.
Yeah.
And they felt like their soul was like above their body and above the building they could see. And they did a test on the blind people as well, who had almost death experience.
Yeah.
And they actually, in a very correct way, they explain the color, the building shape, the people around them. And that doesn't fascinate you, doesn't make you question, wow, then maybe it is really something that exists outside of your consciousness.
Yeah. So you would believe that there are like reincarnation?
Yeah, I think I'm getting closer and closer. It's not to me just a mysticism anymore.
Yeah. There is a very good movie called I Origins.
Mm-hmm.
Have you watched that movie?
No, not yet.
It's really cool. I'm not going to. Maybe I will spoil it a little bit. But it's like this scientist that he has a relationship, then something happened, but he likes to watch the eyes and take picture of the eyes. But there is other scientists that they are collecting information from the eyes, from the iris. And he's like puzzled, like why these people are doing this? Like it's a very secret investigation, very secret research. And he finds out that they are researching reincarnation, like the eyes, like there is something in the eyes that they see the exact pattern than people from the past. And it's like, I don't want to spoil it, but definitely you should watch it because I think it will be like, oh, this is cool. Like you will find it cool. I think.
There's really a science base behind.
Yeah, but it's like there is some aspects of science, but it's fiction. But it's like science fiction, let's say.
Okay.
But the concept is just so cool. It's just so cool, and it's very like the director is very good. I don't remember right now his name, despite being one of my favorite. But it's it's one of my favorite movies, definitely. And it's this concept of what would you do if you figure out that the eyes of the people that you love, or I don't know, somebody, is the same eyes that somebody that died 200 years ago, something that it should be impossible. And then you start to see patterns that the previous guy didn't like chocolate and your person doesn't like chocolate, or he died in a car accident and your person doesn't want to be close to cars.
Okay.
Things like that. It's good. I think you will like it because of this idea. For me, I don't know what to think. I don't know if like things that the more you read and read different things, the less stuck in one idea you are. You know, like it could be super cool, to be honest.
Yeah.
If we reincarnate or if there is afterlife, it will be, because I don't know you, like please tell me if you feel the same, but I'm a little bit like I don't want to die, man. Like I really don't want to die. Like I like life so much that I don't like thinking that it's like it's the end. It will be like very sad. I don't know, what do you think?
I think my instinct will tell you that I don't want to die. That's my instinct. My rationality, which comprehend my conceptualization, say that I don't mind dying.
Okay. Yeah.
In a sense that I don't want to be afraid of death. I feel that accepting death is, make you live better.
Yeah.
It goes a lot to the philosophy, but I feel like you just wanna, live every day as the maximum and the peak, of your existence. Even though, sometimes I enjoy just by laying down in the bed for a whole day.
Yeah.
But still, I feel like I would like to do things that doesn't give me regret, than fearing mistakes.
Yeah.
So I would rather, do things and feel that okay, I did wrong, but I did it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's very banal or simplified thought, but that we were talking about meeting people and meeting girls and stuff like that. To be honest, for me, when I was traveling, the first time that I traveled, it was really kind of like that, like what you're saying. It's like, dude, just fucking, just do it, man.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? What? Somebody telling you no?
Yeah.
Fuck it. And to be honest, being in Denmark and stuff like that, it really helped me out because I remember I was in I was in Budapest and I was a kind of cute girl, reject me.
Okay.
I was I felt kind of bad, like normal people,
Okay.
The next day, oh no, I remember better. We were in the baths, in the thermal baths in Budapest. I was there, and then I saw some girls from Mexico, and I was like, I'm going to talk with the people from Mexico. They were in Budapest, and I started to talk with them. One was kind of talking, but kind of they didn't want to talk with me. They thought, okay. I don't know, whatever. It's usually happens, I guess,
Okay.
A friend from Germany says Germans doesn't want to see other Germans. So maybe something like that. I don't know.
All right.
So anyway, I was kind of down and I was like, okay, I got rejected. Same day, I go to the ruin bars. 2 girls from Germany. One of them model. And we had a super, super cool time together. And I'm not saying hey, I get back, I get, no, but it's kind of you are not defined by the other person, if somebody rejects you, that doesn't reduce your value as a human or as a person, because sometimes I've been rejected for people that are kind of okay, and sometimes I've been rejected for people that are kind of bad, and sometimes I've been rejected for people that are kind of models, and the opposite. Yeah. Sometimes I've been accepted by people that are kind of models, kind of middle, kind of, So it's kind of
I got it. I get what you mean.
In that area and in many, just to say just try it, man. The worst thing that could happen is kind of being rejected in that case, or the worst thing that could happen, for example, scholarships, you get rejected, you try it again, whatever. Jobs, things like that. But I think, I don't know in the Italian culture, but in our culture, in Mexico at least, you kind of get this, you reduce your value. It's kind of okay, I have been rejected 5 times. I'm 5 times less than I was before I was rejected. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah.
Or failure, or whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, I think that success comes from failing. You fail 10 times until you succeed. Or you can fail 1 time and give up, and maybe the success was in the next time.
Yeah.
And you just, I don't know, man. What do you think?
The door, what is the usefulness of the door?
Yeah.
The usefulness of the door is just to be open.
Yeah.
That's why it exists. Same thing as a human. Why do we exist? I think we exist because we conceptualize the meaning of life. So we give it a meaning.
Yeah.
By giving the meaning, it's gathering experiences. It's like you live every day, you do what you desire to do, you want to reach your hedonism, I would say. You want to reach your happiness in life, like everyone seeks about.
Yeah.
Different way. People who are journalists like you, people who are, an artist, painter, musician, technician, or a professor. Everyone do what passionate them because make them happy.
Yeah.
And can give them the material sustainment, to do some trips, eat something they want, sleep in a place they feel comfortable about. And with a woman, I would say the same, and I reconnect with what you said before about the strings, the vibration string, the atoms. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just sometimes when you have that kind of consciousness, right? And consciousness itself, it's just the synapses of the brain, which is release of this electrical current, which produce a kind of magnetic wave. Mm-hmm. And imagine that if someone who is closer to you in this kind of vibration, this kind of frequency, in a frequency, I don't know, of seeking for adventure, seeking for the open-mindedness, to connect with each other, mm-hmm. to break down the language barrier, to get to know each other physically, not to be too much into this conservative way of thinking that if I give you my vagina, so basically means that I'm bitch. Yeah. So I guess in the end, as what you say, that maybe in 100 kilometers away, but you vibrate this kind of state as whole existence of you, and that person vibrates that way. Maybe it really happens that you meet each other. Yeah. Maybe. You
know what has been very weird that what I've been traveling is that I meet people again without planning it, in a very weird way. Like in very, it's not like I know that, I don't know, the friend that I met in Romania, he's going to Italy, and I met him in the most popular place. Wow. No. It's not happened like that. It's like I met some people in Romania, let's say, and then I see them in the most lonely street that nobody crosses there. There are not tourists.
Like
random. Wow. Without saying like, hey, we're going to meet. And it has happened so much that you wouldn't believe it. Like probably in 2 years, probably like around 20 times.
Wow.
It's crazy. For example, the latest was a guy that he was from China actually, and he was working in tourism. He liked to take pictures and stuff, and I was working in a hostel in Romania, and he came as a tourist, and he asked a lot of questions, and I patiently answered, but they were like 2 hours talking. Anyway, one day I was lost in Istanbul, but again, not in the tourist area, not in the place, in the farthest, I see him. I was like, it's you, man? I was like, yes, it's me. It's like, what the fuck? How? Like, we are not in a bus station. We're not like in the tourist area. Like, we are like, what are you doing here? It's like, yeah, just taking pictures with my cell phone. It's like, dude, incredible. Happened with people, some people from, I think it was like they were from Chile. I met them in Serbia.
Totally different place.
And I met them in Serbia, and then I saw them again. Where was it? Croatia? I don't remember. It was like
Wow.
We meet like randomly. Like I was walking. I was like, "What are you doing here, man?"
Imagine that.
Yeah, and and again, it's not like in the tourist area. It's like in another place, and it's like it's so interesting that those things happen. And sometimes you say like, you know, in the weirdest place, it's like there's something. But the weirdest that has happened to me in things like that was one time, long time ago, I had like with a person, like a girlfriend that I was dating or whatever. I was living in the same city, but like we weren't talking or something like that, you know, like you fight with somebody, we weren't talking. And I usually was taking one path to go, the normal path to go, but this time, I don't know why, like something in my mind made me go to another street. That was so weird, but the street that, like, it was no reason to do it. And I just saw her like that. It's like, it's so weird, man. Like, what do you think about that? What is that? Or is it just coincidence?
I have to say that you have a very keen and you're very sensitive, I think, you as a person.
Okay.
As for me, I can tell something similar, but not as much as you, because I feel that you need to feel a lot about this to make these kind of things happen.
Yeah.
You need to believe, you need to have a conviction, you know, or at least having a little voice behind of your head telling you something like this. One story that I can tell is I had a childhood friend in the high school. She did theater performance. Mm-hmm. I was doing that as well for 1 year. Mm-hmm. And I was doing, you know, a technical high school, so everyone was men, was boys.
Yeah.
And we kind of mixed it up with only women high school, so we made this kind of like theater group. And she was kind of like my first crush. I really got infatuated, you know, by looking at her just in far away. And somehow we never talk with each other, but I can see that she's looking at me at the same time when I was looking at her. I don't know if it's coincidence or not. Yeah. Just like there are so many people watching the person there in front performing, and I was going to the toilet. I was turning around my head and I was watching her directly. She was watching me directly. I was like, why? What the hell? And in a sense that, okay, I was very shy. I never had any experience with the girls. So I just waited until the end of the theater experience. Until, you know, we did the performance in the public, everything. And okay, it was finishing. I was coming out, you know, from the stage, and she was going inside, and we just crossed each other. I was like, hey, how are you? Are you alright? You want to have ice cream together next time? It's like that. And cool. She says like, okay, why not? And we went out. I was very shy. I never had any experience with the girls. I don't know what to do, you know.
Okay.
My voice was trembling, and I don't know what to say to entertain her. So my mouth was getting dry. I don't know why all the time I was watching her boobs all the time.
I don't know why.
Because she was wearing a cleavage, like too much, you know, exposition, I would say. And we took this ice cream, we played, I don't know, I was becoming quiet because I don't know what to say. So she took out the cards, we started to play cards.
Oh, bro, what happened there?
Yeah, it's kind of like getting, you know, to be two old people playing cards.
Yeah.
And okay, it concluded pretty bad. Said goodbye to her and, you know, goodbye. We didn't hear from each other too much anymore from that time. Until I met her again. I met her again randomly in a folk dance. society.
Okay.
I did some folk dance around the time, so I like it, a lot about that. I was like, hey, why are you here? Why are you here? And okay, hugging each other, dancing. Hey, do you want to have a dance then? And then joking a little bit. I was still quite infatuated to her, but never had any courage, to tell her about that.
Yeah.
And then that's it, still just normal knowledge, friend, acquaintances, no more than that. Until I traveled to the UK.
Okay.
For my Erasmus.
Yes.
I had my first sex experience, so I kind of become more, more chill with the girls.
I know what's up.
Okay, this is the woman's word. This is the woman word. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And
so you become more confident around.
So I become more confident about myself, yeah.
Okay.
Slightly, but I was still very shy.
Okay.
I think I invited her once to go out with me. I still had her number. I saw her, past almost like 2-3 years. She got thinner, she grew up more, I grew up more, we became a little bit more different physically. Oh, how are you? Fine. And we had a long walk, a long conversation with each other. But I got kind of like, gathered all my bravery of the moment. Asked her, hey, can I kiss you?
Oh, the story becomes more interesting.
But it's still, if I think back about it, it's still very immature and very, not so fascinating to ask a girl, can I kiss you, right?
You would like to just
just grab her and
her.
do it if you're confident enough, no?
Mm-hmm.
She was kind enough. She was like, oh, I don't know, but no, and then she just kissed me afterwards.
Okay.
And right, let's see how it works. But I was very infatuated by her. I was kind of like messaging her.
Like her.
Yeah, really. I was messaging every day. I was kind of like annoying her a little bit maybe with my presence. I wrote her letters. I give her presents, stuff like that. Full attention, really, full attention.
Okay. Yeah.
And she said like, maybe it's a little bit too much, and maybe sometimes she will take time answering me back because she has her stuff to do. She's busy, And to me, it's like,
why you're not answering?
Why you not answering immediately? Like, and then she says to me, maybe we should be just friends. And I really got my heart, broken.
Yes.
Heavily, like in a very little pieces. It took me time to put them back together.
Yeah.
And I was angry to her, said, okay, let's not meet up anymore. Like, cut off each other now. It's kind of like a very mature act. And then after just 2 months, I said, it's alright, we can just be friends. And I was very mature. Didn't understand that you had your own thing to solve. And I was too much into you. I think the two rhythm was different. Yeah. So I took it more philosophically and rationally. And we still remain very good friends for years. We hung out together. She took me to many events, with her sister. I met her brother. We went to Dalai Lama conference in Florence. We went to a mountain. We did this kind of like South American rituals with the shamans, burning stones and in this kind of tent, all naked, singing songs, stuff like that. Very life-changing experience.
Wow!
So she's very close friends, yeah. I don't know, like there's something electrical between us. Like when we finished that event, I was sleeping like with a lot of people and she was just looking at me all the times and I was looking at her. Something electric, but never, I didn't want to break our friendship and I didn't want to make something happen anymore between us because many years passed by. So I changed a lot over time. I had much more girls than before. And I think I'm just really more relaxed with a woman now. Just talking, like a very conversation like us now.
Yeah.
And to me, she was just a friend and no more than that. And until recently, I think 2 years I was not in Italy because I was abroad, surviving with COVID. And I came back. Somehow inside myself, I always knew that I was kind of interested by her. Because when she saw my transformation, she saw me, growing up more as personality, as attitude, and physically as well. I changed over time. And but for me, she was just a friend until she came here one night, and something between us just happened. And I don't know if this is a coincidence or not. It's just like the two souls just keep, happening, or just suddenly appear in front of each other in life. Yeah, and I just met her randomly in some place, and it's quite interesting, this thing. Some people just kind of like you're destined, I think, to meet.
We don't know how we are built, but definitely that happened with some people. It's like, dude, like, it's incredible. Their relationships can be so complicated. It's just so weird, like this kind of behavior in which the more you want to reach your goal, the more you get away from your goal. Like, I'm trying to pay attention and give gifts to you and really show you my love, and the more I do that, the less you like it. So what you want me is to be cool and a little bit cold. It's just so weird, it's kind of like happens so
I think
much.
Girls like that, they like the mysterious man, the man that kind of like they don't know if they have you in hand or not. But I think it's a little bit similar to men as well, right?
Yeah, I think so, and I think there must be like a very well studied biology studies about like how we behave and stuff. But like, rationally speaking, it's just so dumb. It's like, dude, like,
it's not spontaneous.
Yeah,
it's not.
Guys, like, okay, so I need to, or used to like play a game, right? Like, it's kind of like a game. It's like, it's so dumb, and it's very funny that you said like you got your heart broken, because like just yesterday we were talking about that. I was talking about that with a friend. I was telling her about a song from a Italian singer that probably you know, because it was like pop, and maybe you can tell me if it's cool or not. Here is Gianluca Viviani or Gianluca Viviani. He's very popular.
I think he's very popular. It's just like I'm not very knowledgeable with Italian singers though.
Okay, no problem. He had like of course I got my heart broken, and you know, the first girlfriend always break your heart, right? So I was listening to his song all the time, you know, like they break your heart, so you kind of, you know, in that mode. And I was telling my friend, the thing is that it's very funny because I have so many friends, like girlfriends, that they said, yeah, he's an asshole and he did this and he did that. I said, like, yeah, but then if you dig a little bit in the story, like somebody breaks his heart, like, and it's kind of, and he said, like, okay, no, you know, like I'm not going to give my heart. Like in one point I was just being so naive, giving you this and that, and you didn't like it. So, well, then I'm just not going to do it anymore. And then they complain, like, why there are not guys like that anymore? Well, because when they are like that, you don't like it, and you wanna. So it's kind of like, dude.
Yeah, it's as you said, a power game, and probably a psychological explanation. Maybe what you can't have, you desire more.
Yeah.
And there are people who are, you know, even very toxic with this kind of like knowledge. They behave in a way to trigger some kind of like neediness of the person, like manipulation. They will give you, make you feel special, give you validation, afterwards pull away, and then come back again.
Yeah. And
then you kind of seek for that kind of validation or attention. When I was actually in South Korea, many girls did this kind of strategy.
Wow.
Because they since the society is more indirect, so being more indirect means the people, they need to read each other more, and of course the persuasion, the manipulation, it's something that can happen more. It's just like how people need to survive in a society where people can be talk more indirect way. But true love doesn't come from that. True love comes from spontaneity, come from supporting each other, and not just because I'm not having your attention, so I'm not with you anymore. We can even be different continent or country, and we cannot even meet for years, but we still.
Do you believe in true love?
Yeah, of course.
Love at the first sight. Do you believe in love at the first sight?
Love at first sight is more, hormones. It's more like, in a more poor words, like I want to fuck you, you want to fuck me, something like that,
Yeah.
Love, I think, is more about accepting each other in the good part, in the bad part. And when you are able to accept even the bad part, or you can even let the person go and you still love that person, wow, I think that's the true love.
I think love is when you go to some Native American rituals completely naked. That's complete love. Can you tell me more about that story? How did you end up like naked in a ritual? Like, how was that? Like,
it was life-changing experience, really.
But how was it? Where? What was about?
It was in the new year, in a mountain, just before the COVID happened. So it was around 2019, passing to the 2020.
Okay.
So it was like 30, 31 of the, December. I went there with this friend, which I told you before. And it was an experience that was quite harsh. Being naked on top, on the peak of the mountain around that period of time was very cold.
Okay.
And we burned these 88 stones that's called son.
Okay.
Like children, son. Or grandpa. And after burning them, which they become reddish, we just throw them inside of this cave, which we built with a tent. And there is a hole inside of this terrain, this land. And we just all get naked and got inside this tent, all packed up. Inside it was very hot. And we poured the water on the stone to make the evaporation, kind of like sauna. It's called Ipni, and it was really tough to be, with a consciousness inside there. Like really around sometimes I felt I could faint. I could just lose my consciousness. I was cheating a little bit because I sit on the back of the tent, so I was more far away from the source of the heat.
Yeah.
So I put even my hand outside of the tent, to balance my body temperature.
Yeah.
But I really saw people just sitting near, to the stones, to the rocks, and having that direct wave operation. And the only way to keep you awake, to keep you still aware of the environment, and it was singing, shouting with your voice, So that's why you feel less pain. So everyone was singing the song. It it was very kind of vibrational changing, goes inside of your cells, I feel. When we finished that, I was there a little bit more inside because I couldn't get up. Because if I get up, I think I would faint because all my blood pressure was unbalanced. Like when you get too much heating, it's like your blood vessel kind of, dilate a lot. So you really can faint if you're not slow enough, to get back, to the homeostatic state of your body. So I just stay there, lay down with my feet above. Everyone went out without problems. Probably they are used more than me because it was my first time.
Okay. Did your friend did it already before?
Yeah, my friend did that before. She went already out. So I was inside with another man.
Okay.
Which we had some deep conversation. She started to cry because it was really such a strong, powerful experience for him,
Yeah.
That broke some emotional barrier inside of him.
Okay.
So I was there listening to him, and we talked together, was bonding with each other quite deeply. It was very beautiful.
Yeah.
And afterwards, he still wanted to stay inside, but I felt that I wanted to go out a little bit, to just change the air. I was naked, and there were so many stars in the sky on top of this mountain. I didn't feel cold. It was minus something. It was minus 5 degree probably. But I didn't feel any cold without clothes because my body absorbed so much heat.
Yeah.
There was no cold to me, and I felt in that state that was much more, rewarding and feel connecting much more than any drugs I've ever tried in my life. Just like a state of meditation. Maybe my brain wave was in a very, low state, and just feel connected with everything. I feel that I was not afraid. I was connected with everything. I didn't feel cold. I didn't feel hot. I feel that my heart beating was so calm. I was watching the people each other, even not talking, just smiling to each other. It was kind of like that kind of state, Yeah, very life-changing experience.
And what do you think about taking mushrooms and those kind of hallucinogenic drugs? Do you think that it take you to a different state of mind, or what do you think?
I think people who are a conscious user, it can be useful to them, Some people, they really get out from some kind of emotional entanglement. Let's say like in psychoanalysis, a lot of people, they have some deep emotional, trauma.
Yeah.
And sometimes by releasing that kind of lock, maybe it can make you feel better, or someone can even go to the breakdown if you're not careful about that. But if you have someone who is conscious about that, and someone who can take care of you in the process of you doing that, maybe it can be very helpful. I never tried though, but maybe in the future I want to try.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Which one? Mushrooms?
Yeah.
I'm very curious about it, to be honest. Because right now there are even universities that start taking research about it.
Yeah.
And they are starting to take them seriously in different levels.
Yeah.
Sigmund Freud had this disciple, Jung, it's his last name.
Yeah. Jung, yeah.
Jung, exactly. And Sigmund Freud believed in this kind of consciousness and the it and all this stuff. I know them in Spanish, but in English I don't know. The it, the super self, or I don't know, and the self. That's how it's. I'm just doing a bad translation from Spanish. So, but Jung believed in this idea of also some sort of social consciousness, and there are people that are kind of taking this from Jung and saying the idea of taking mushrooms, basically what it does is that because he believed that this consciousness exists, like it's something like you can really perceive it and study it. And that's where myths are coming from, like the myths that everybody believes in the same myth or the same idea or the same concept, that is some sort of collective mindset or collective perspective of the world, etc. And these people are saying that, well, these mushrooms is a way to eliminate the it and to eliminate the super, again, I don't know in English, but like these three concepts that Freud used.
Yeah.
To eliminate them and to get instant access to this collective consciousness, and this kind of open your mind to different things and stuff. I mean, I don't know, it would be interesting to try it, but to be honest, it will be also a little bit like frightening. Like, I've seen so many people that they just stay there forever. Like,
really?
Oof.
You have seen the people really stay there forever, like like they just be in coma.
Not coma, like they end up like bad crazy. But I wouldn't say that I can say 100% sure that it's only mushrooms. Maybe they also took like LSD, stuff like that. There was one guy in Cancun, in Mexico, that he was crazy because everybody knew him. All the newspaper, all the journalists we knew about the guy, and also some people. He was rich before. He had like buildings and stuff. He was rich, but he liked to take, I think he was LSD, but like don't quote me on that, but I think it was LSD. You see him almost every day in the beach, just like moving, like dancing, all the time. And the police knew about this guy. And he like gently said like, hey, just like take it. But he just stayed there in the trip forever.
All the time, 24 hours.
Not 20, like his brain was like broken.
It's gone, yeah.
It's gone. And to be honest, it's kind of like the only thing that is like, but on the other hand, I met people that they take so many things. They're just like normal, bro. Like they're just like normal. So I don't know, man, but these concepts of reality, and there is something that I think you may like, a book, I'm pretty sure that you may like. The author is called Carlos Castaneda. Mm-hmm. Have you heard about him?
Maybe.
Okay. If you haven't read the books, I think you will like those books. The first one is Las Enseñanzas de Don Juan, which is the Don Juan thought.
I heard about it.
I think you will like it because of what you're telling me. It's a very good book. It's very addictive. It's like a trilogy, and then he made more. But the real books, like the real, is the three. Now there is a story that Carlos Castaneda actually has never accepted that the books are fantasy. He says that the books are real because he's an anthropologist and he did a study in the north part of Mexico, like with peyote and different things, with Don Juan. Don Juan was some sort of shaman and some sort of wizard, and he says everything that I experience is real, like everything that happens is real. Basically the idea is that with these things like peyote and these things, he reached a different level of consciousness, and he was able to do stuff in the real world, like things, like, and he explains a little bit about like we are like a ball of energy, like some sort of onion of energy, with the center kind of in the belly button, and you can like have this kind of strings that kind of attach to things and do crazy things, stuff like that. I mean, maybe it sounds a little bit more fantasy, but the book is very good.
I do believe it.
And I think it could be very good reading for you because I was like walking and reading the book. It's very addictive and it's very interesting. And it's super cool that, I don't know if it's true or not, but it's super cool that the dude has never said that is fantasy. He sticks saying like, this was true. I met this guy and this happened. So maybe he did. I don't know. I mean, the trilogy is very well known that at the end they say goodbye. So it's not like a spoiler, but like they say goodbye. But definitely, it's during these 3 books he started to become like an apprentice of this research and learning about it. I think it's a book that you will like it.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, since you are going to wake up tomorrow morning very early, I just have one question that I usually ask when I met people, but I never ask in the podcast. But I think it's good to ask and put it in the podcast too. And the question is, if you could tell me a song that you want people to remember you with that song, like the song that you want me to remember you with that song, which song would be?
Do you know Nancy Gomez?
I will look it up then.
She had this song that I really like the lyrics and the visual as well.
Okay.
The title is All is Related.
All is related?
Yeah.
Okay, but Nancy Gomez.
Nancy Gomez.
Perfect. So the next thing that you will hear is the song of Nancy Gomez. And see you around. So, what do you think about today's episode? Don't forget to share your thoughts answering the polls and questions in the Spotify version of this podcast. Remember that in the description there are links to the interviewee song. You can also listen to the Spanish version of this podcast with different guests or listen to it into different platforms. If you want to watch videos about my travels to different countries, visit my YouTube channel. You can also support me in my Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, or Anchor page. In all of them, my username is JuanAround. In Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and in all social networks, you can also find me as JuanAround. All links are in the description of this episode and in the description of this podcast. Subscribe and share. See you around.
Your booze mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.